We didn't talk about this, but have you seen Batman: The Killing Joke yet? The only way I can describe this movie, because I bought it, and I got this little Joker figure that, is standing on the desk of my workplace right now. It's not a bad film. During its title sake, it doesn't seem to start until after 30 minutes of Batgirl. Let's say I have a copy of Batman: The Killing Joke, like the actual comic book, and I go up to you and say, "Hey, have you read this?" And you said, "No, I haven't read it." Like, cool. Here, I'm gonna let you borrow it. Read it and tell me what you think. Before you read that, here, read this issue of Batgirl as well. And you sit there, you crack open the issue of Batgirl, you read it, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. A little romance with Batman, that's neat. She has a little deal about growing as an individual, whatever. Okay, cool, all right. And you finish reading the book and like, okay, that was okay. That was not bad. But then like it was like, okay, cool. Now read Batman: The Killing Joke. And then you start reading Batman: The Killing Joke, and has, this sort of pseudo origin of Joker. I guess you could say origin. The person reads The Killing Joke, looks up and says, "Oh, that was great. Why did you have me read this Batgirl comic before?" It's like, I don't know. I just kind of like Batgirl, and that's how it feels. It's like, oh, okay, well this stuff's not bad, but this doesn't really have anything to do with Batman as a whole. With that being said, I think people should actually check it out. Controversy aside, because I think the big controversy is that there is a scene in there where Bruce Wayne and Barbara Gordon are adults and decide to consummate a relationship, sort of. But it's not as bad as people kind of bring it up to be. I still think it's kind of neat, and it probably maybe should have worked better on its own and not attached to a iconic story like The Killing Joke. Some people will argue with me and say, well, doesn't that build up Batgirl's character in the beginning just so that like when stuff happens to her in The Killing Joke, it's more impactful? Not really, because it really has nothing to do with what happens in The Killing Joke. If anything, maybe the first half of the story should have been about Jim Gordon and how his life is, and like how happy he is, how normal he is, and not kind of like transition to this horrible thing that's about to happen to him. Because when the Joker was a normal person, he was just a husband who was supporting a wife who was pregnant, and then that all went to hell with just this one incident.
So your issue really wasn't the scene itself; it's just more of the fact that it just felt very unnecessary and disjointed because it really didn't help the latter half of the story, right?
It's like getting two different episodes of Batman the Animated Series, but saying that, oh, this is the here's Batman the Animated Series. Oh, which episode is this? Oh, this is the one where Mr. Freeze appears, and then like for whatever reason they have like the Riddler episode in the beginning, but like they call it the Mr. Freeze episode. They like edit it together to be one episode. It's like, well, what? I like the Riddler, but like I thought this was the Mr. Freeze episode. So that's what it's like.
I think one of the big reasons why a lot of people were upset over this is because Bruce Timm was doing this, and a lot of people hold Bruce Timm in high regards when it comes to Batman because of Batman the Animated Series. The way they made it seem is they kind of cheapened the Batgirl character with the controversial scene, and they also thought it was unnecessary. He before this came out, when they announced it, Bruce Timm was building it up as, oh, we're not only gonna give it due diligence, we're also gonna expand the Batgirl role so she's not just a victim. And then this came out and people saw it, and they essentially said, well, not only did you not follow through on that promise, not making her a victim, but you also essentially made her just a pining girl who has an infatuation with Batman. Depending on who you talk to, I know this was established in the Bruce Timm cartoon. This was established as it was more of a throwaway line in Batman Beyond, where Barbara Gordon reveals that they had a relationship. Return of the Joker. At one point, I think also in the TV series too. I think there's a throwaway line, but I think they kind of expanded in Return of the Joker a bit. Is she mentions that they did have a relationship, and it didn't work out because Bruce Wayne being Bruce Wayne, he's more obsessed with being Batman than actually having any kind of relationship. Now, a lot of people also were angry at this decision because they always saw the relationship between Barbara and Bruce as more of a father-daughter relationship. They figured they saw more Bruce as a surrogate father when she donned the Batgirl costume, as opposed to them actually being infatuated with each other. Honestly, I don't know how to feel about this. I mean, I'll watch it. I actually am of the mind that I do enjoy them having more stronger female characters. Perfect example is I'm actually looking forward to the Wonder Woman movie immensely because they make her look like she's badass, and she was honestly the best part of Batman v Superman. I kind of always saw Batgirl, in my view, I always wanted Batgirl to be that type of person. You know, obviously she was fighting men that were, you know, a lot bigger than her, a lot heavier than her, and she was always fighting against like criminal scum, but her agility and her abilities helped her even the playing field, and also in the Arkham Knight games they kind of portray her as that.
I don't think it's a disappointment. I just think it's just kind of weird of how structurally it was put together. I think would have been interesting maybe, and I don't think they're going to ever make this because they don't make these kind of stories in animated form, but it would be kind of neat to just have like a movie that was a little bit more like personal because when we have live action superhero movies, they always have to be about the big picture, big action sequences, and you know some scenes do have heart to it, like the past Civil War movie, Captain America Civil War, and it's always kind of geared toward that like big just wham bam like a lot of destruction and that heroes fighting on the brink of this supervillain trying to overcome them all, and I'm not saying I don't enjoy that, but like there could have been an opportunity here instead of doing Batman Killing Joke how it was done. Maybe show maybe do a movie that shows like the aftermath of how Barbara got shot, what she goes through like emotionally, kind of paying attention to the world around her where there's still superheroes doing the things that they do, and like while in the meantime she's in a wheelchair, and like how she kind of comes and cope with that. I mean, they did it in the comic book, so it'd be kind of neat. It would be kind of neat to show that even a superhero can like fall from grace and like kind of climb back up with a disability, and show that climb back to where she's that level of as Oracle. But again, they don't really make those kind of movies.
I think the problem with those more personable stories is they don't sell. I think it's just they just don't sell. And I mean, I agree with you. I would like to see a lot of those more personable stories. One of my favorite Batman Batman the Animated Series episodes was Epilogue, where you find out that you find out that Terry is Bruce's biological son, or that's Justice League. Sorry, but it also sheds light on why everyone respected him so much. So